Yes, Jah people, this is Michael Shamaya representing. I will say, Hail the Lion voice, saying it is time for the lions and the lionesses to tell their own story. King David killed Goliath with a stone, we original dread.
The fittest of the fittest shall survive. My people, open your eyes, wake up. Blessed love, this is Queen Omega representing for all lions and lionesses. With the lion's voice, we come to tell our story. Rastafari, live it. Hey, the lion's voice, Rastafari.
It's AWTITUDE representing for Lion's Voice. Yes, massive. This is the time for I and I, the lion them to tell I and I story, our story. Yes, and we reign and rule like this. Reign and rule, yeah. Selassie, I reign and rule. You can't take the lion vibes, people. If you no fool, cause we know Selassie reign and rule. Reign and rule. Selassie, I reign and rule. Queen Omega drop them in the fire, pull from them, no Queen Omega, she reign and rule. Royal Kushite, ancient essence, Emperor Selassie in a majestical presence, flash of all sevens, projecting through I and I events. We sing a song for the king, we bring joy and blessing and overstanding, yeah. We hear Jah every day, reign and rule, yeah. Selassie, reign and rule. Yes, I lion vibes, Selassie, reign and rule. Attitude say that Boondocks, Black Organization of Global Diplomats optimizing expressions to the world. Till the world, till the end.
Amina, the time has come for the lioness to tell our own story. No surrender, no retreat, we are Jaja soldier. Rougher than the streets, tougher than a boulder. Bigging up Lamb's voice. Now put it, I jolly for say that.
At the timing of Lidj Tafari's birth is extremely significant. Exactly 400 years before that, prior to 1892 when he was born, we have the crushing really of the last African stronghold or kingdom of the Moors in Spain, and the expulsion of African people and their rulership from Spain, which will then in the same year precipitate the journey of Christopher Columbus across the Atlantic. And within a very short time period, we're talking about less than 10 years of Christopher Columbus crossing the Atlantic, we have records of full-fledged slavery underway in Saint-Domingue, what we would call today Haiti. This, of course, is going to spread like a virus across the islands of the Caribbean, South America, and North America. And so what we have is Africa and African people in a grip, right? At the height of what we know and we call, possibly wrongly, the slave trade, because there was no real trade. We have 1 out of every 3 African people in bondage somewhere in the world.
The year is 1892, and the land of Ethiopia has been experiencing 4 years of terrible famine and drought. They call it the Kikuken, or the evil days. At least 1/3 of the human population and 90% of the cattle have died. The hyenas have feasted on so many carcasses that they have become overweight and barely able to move. Just when the people could take no more of the evil days, a woman named Wasiro Yeshimabe is giving birth in a place called Ergersa Gora. This is her 9th attempt to bring forth new life. Her previous 8 attempts only resulted in death. Will this child live? Thankfully, a healthy baby boy is born. His first cries are drowned by thunder and lightning flashes across the night sky. The heavens open up and torrential rain starts to fall. Ethiopia's drought is over, and the baby boy is given the name Tafari, meaning one to be feared or respected. Lidj Tafari's father, Ras Tafari, is a very important man in 1892 Ethiopia, Although he is overjoyed at the birth of his newborn son, he cannot spend much time with him. Ras McCunnan is the governor of Harar and must get back to the famous walled city to deal with its affairs. Furthermore, he is the foreign minister of Ethiopia, and having traveled to different places in Europe, he is very aware of the material and military advances they have made and the looming threats they pose to his country. Ras McCunnan knows that the majority of Ethiopians have no idea what is coming, and that he has to work that much harder to secure the realm. Lidj Tafari would grow up to become the legendary emperor, Haile Selassie I. To understand his journey, we must first understand the Ethiopia that he was inheriting and what it was like when he was born in 1892. Get your copy of Kwesi Bansu's book, Haile Selassie I, Ethiopia, Volume 1, The Rise of the Priestly Warrior Kings, and increase your knowledge about the history, politics, and culture of Ethiopia in 1892, and how it connects to the rest of African and world history at the time. Haile Selassie I, Ethiopia, Volume 1 is available for purchase at www.bookmanexpress.pub. Please visit for more information.
Now we have two powerhouse guests tonight. Both of them are alumnus of the Lion Voice Network. None of them are new to this platform, but trust me, family, when me say facts are gonna fly like rain tonight, facts are gonna fly like rain. This is going to be a special one. I am so excited. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce the item to Dr. Asantewaa Oppong and Dr. Kadamawe Knife. Blessing and Isis. Yes.
Devices.
Isis.
Yes.
So,
Yes,
let me just introduce the item quickly. Introduce the item self. Start with the eye doctor, Asantewaa, and then the eye doctor Knife, and then we'll start getting into the topic.
All right. Give thanks to Jasmine Kwesi. It's always just a blessing to be here. I am Dr. Asantewaa Oppong and Dr, living in Illinois, central United States. A mother, a professor, a homeschooler, and several other hats. But most importantly, on this very sacred mission of restoring African identity to African people and making sure that we have a place at the world's table. So yeah, that's how I would introduce myself.
Yes, and she wrote a book, Empress Men in Chronicles. I was looking for my copy. Sorry, I don't have it right here, but I'm going to try to find it before we seal up. So she's an author, published author, which is a collection of different Sistine writers and facts about Empress Men that I didn't know. So, big up yourself. Dr. Knife, please introduce thyself.
I give thanks. So I am Kadamawe Knife, researcher in the area of entrepreneurship and strategic planning. We have primary focus on what we call social entrepreneurship. Which is not a new concept, those are just new words. When you check the history of any people who are disenfranchised, particularly African people, Caribbean people, people always have some kind of social entrepreneurial mindset towards resolving them problems, And we look at models that our people actually use. So the focus is really on supporting sustainable community development wherever we go. That's the primary focus. And we don't adopt trickle-down, neoliberalist, neoclassical models for development, because those things never work. See? So the objective is really to just build people capacity. We really say empower people to empower themselves. Don't put it like that. That is our sole mission. How do we empower people to empower themselves? With a framework of self-reliance and collective security. That are the pillars of all the work we do. How we help people become self-reliant. And as we become more self-reliant, we become stronger. So that is my whole thing. research, teaching, outreach.
Give thanks, give thanks. And the item will see why that's important to this reasoning shortly, because yes, we're going to talk about Lidj Tafari and the birth, the entire Rastafari community globally. Yesterday, it's coming out of a kind of Islaful current, of celebration wherever one's gather, whether it's Naya Bingi, Bobo Shanti, 12 tribe, even those who don't have any affiliation would be in their gates a whole of joy if you know say Lidj Tafari was born. So I want to set the stage, and I'm going to take it to the eye, Dr. Asantewaa, in terms of, let us set the stage. Who is Lidj Tafari? Why is this day important from an African perspective?
All right, give thanks for the question. I think I will begin by saying that the timing of Lidj Tafari's birth is extremely significant. Um, exactly 400 years before that, prior to 1892 when he was born, we have the crushing really of the last African stronghold or kingdom of the Moors in Spain, and the expulsion of African people and their rulership from Spain, which will then in the same year precipitate the journey of Christopher Columbus across the Atlantic. And within a very short time period, we're talking about less than 10 years of Christopher Columbus crossing the Atlantic, we have records of full-fledged slavery underway in Saint Domingue, what we would call today Haiti. And this, of course, is going to spread like a virus across the islands of the Caribbean, South America, and North America. And so what we have is Africa and African people in a grip, right? At the height of what we know and we call, possibly wrongly, the slave trade, because there was no real trade. We have 1 out of every 3 African people in bondage somewhere in the world.
Wow.
So to have someone born who's coming with a lot of strength, and I want to comment on that a little later, a lot of vision for righting this horrible wrong, stepping into this Ma'afa, this Manganese, this calculated takedown of African people, and giving a powerful push for the upturn of African people, the return of our sovereignty and our self-governance. It can't be understated. It can't be understated. Other historians will, use other markers. I use the birth of His Majesty to mark this very significant ascendancy. Whereas for some time, namely 400 years, there had been something of a crumbling, and that is not to say that there was no resistance to that, but there was something of a crumbling, something of a downturn in the African experience.
Highly. Dr. Knife.
I listen to the Dr. Knife smile because there's no such thing as coincidence, seeing? And so when I was thinking about the reasoning, I said, just approach it from an area there's no ambiguity, which is in numbers, numerology.
Okay.
Seeing? Yeah, the numerology, and that is within the whole fullness of Haile Selassie. And we like to talk about the breaking of the drought, and the fact that his mommy had 8 miscarriage, and the virgin coming on the 9. I don't know what 9 means in terms of 9 being the perfect number, which actually represents I in the alphabet. That is what finds both above and below, which is the same correspondence symbol I'm used as the David star. So essentially, you find that all those things, is in birth alone being 9, embodies that principle of correspondence as above, so below. Same triple crown, same David star, the same egg of life, the same thing that we used to call Merkaba, that is all that is embodied within that fullness right there. But when the sister mentioned the 400 years, why I give thanks to that reason, sister. You really excited about I give thanks. Because if you mention the 400 years now, you see 400 equal to 4. And 4 is stability. 3 is the first.
Yes.
3 is the first shape. That's why the triune governs everything. But 4 is what creates stability. And so the coming of Haile Selassie at that exact 400 years. I know you go into Haile Selassie's number because Haile Selassie number, so the 23rd of July, 1892 is actually 5. And 5 means change.
Mm-hmm.
And what the sister mentioned to I was that say Haile Selassie birth mark is a serious change taking place in the face of the earth.
Yes, I.
It's exactly what Haile Selassie number represents. And if you go and read it, you'll see it. One who will bring significant changes. And you can see how Haile Selassie work has changed, not just Ethiopia, but the entire globe. So in fulfilling that fullness, there are other elements. Who knows again what July the 23rd actually means in terms of ancient esoteric practices, with the rising of Sirius A and the sun and the earth forming that planetary alignment. And that when Sirius A rises, the light, the sunlight enters into the great pyramid of Giza in the atrium, where the sacred marriage takes place, given to what I call that virgin birth, is the man going to a state of enlightenment. And so the first, in terms of the astrological manifestation of the triune that day also represents the power of the triune, which is in my own Irish now. This is just my own Irish saying this now.
Yeah, man. That's why the eyes here,
Yeah, my own Irish saying over. That is one of the primary reasons Haile Selassie is seen as the power of the triune, because as above, so below. So as it manifests astrologically now, it manifests in earth biologically as well. And if you notice again, that he got the name Haile Selassie how many days after?
40 days.
Part represents stability again.
Haile.
So that shows that this is the being who comes in aeration, the being who embodies the full power of the triune, which governs all of aeration. And I do like that because I tell you, people can't really question numbers, because numbers is an exact science, it's an exact kind of vibes. And so the numbers itself give you insight into who Haile Selassie is. And all the stories, and this is the thing where people must realize now, it's when people create stories, whether you think they are true or not, around any being, it tells that there's something very unique and special about that being. So one might not be able to express it in the fullness of form that really want to express it, but still wanted to recognize that this is not a regular situation. But we have a lot of evidence about Haile Selassie and the things that them do as a youth, etc. and things, which substantiates what people know, no matter what people believe, And this is probably the most important element now, Guys, the sister, I really appreciate that point with you, because it's an entire system broke down, Hey, when the member say it's a Pope, it's a Rome, triune they meet,
Yes.
And Isabel and Ferdinand,
Go deep. Yeah, man. Why not?
Yeah, and meet and say, I'm going to go and take over the rest of the space, which them knew about. Is that this going to try this, going to know about this place. And when the Empress was showing is that now the power of the triune manifests 400 years after to block down all of that system. And in doing that, it was really and almost an amplification where we are moved from out of one age into the next. And I want people to realize that we are moved out of the Piscean age into the Aquarian age. The Piscean age, where Europe did dominate, is that age based on belief. And as Rastafari, I always ask, Rastafari, I do not believe. Rastafari, I know. And so we are moved from a belief age now into a knowing age. If you look at the symbols that are used, the symbols that was used to represent the power of the triune, the power of the Trinity, in Haile Selassie's coronation, It's the same symbol that is used for what is called the Aquarian age, which is the age that we are in now. The age of knowing. You go look back on the National Geography thing, man. You see what them call the bend sign.
Yes.
Same symbol. Type in a computer the symbol for the Aquarian age and you see it. That's where all these things are used. You see the symbol of the avatar thing use the same triune symbol. All those things are there. See, so this is really the age of Rastafari, and the age of Rastafari, not in terms of, oh, a man saying that a Rastaman now, but the age of knowing and the age of self-actualization, which is part of the role what I know as Rastafari bring, but what I last year actually brought to the earth. Because when you go on, remember, when you think about what a monarch actually is, Ethiopia being the most ancient monarch, I may talk before Solomon and Sheba, Ethiopia going further and further, the seed of knowledge. So Haile Selassie is like a gateway to oneself and one agency. It's about knowing self, know thyself. That's what I say. So I will argue that Haile Selassie word was an opener and a stargate to man. I people recognizing who they are before when the regular scholars would have talked about origins and start times. It's a serious thing.
Tell them bow Lidj Tafari, tell them bow Haile Selassie, when me tell them bow Lidj Tafari, tell them bow Haile Selassie, when me tell them bow Lidj Tafari, tell them bow Haile Selassie, when me tell them bow Lidj Tafari, tell them bow Haile Selassie. The 23rd of July, born in a province named Harar, I burned them God from sky, cause I know the prophecy is true, cause unto us the son was born 1892, he built the OAU, come break all chains, tell them Tafari was his name, the same man that crowned as the Ras, it didn't come fast, went from Lidj to the chess match, who governed in Harar from the age of 13, this is you blessed with Iris, supreme first king, the throne with him queen, hear the trumpet sound, gather round, tell the youths them come in, hail Lidj Tafari, tell them bow Haile Selassie, let me tell them bow Lidj Tafari, tell them bow Haile Selassie, tell them so fight so many wars, just to centralize the tribes, no 9 to 5 the reigns came when the king arrived, cause out of the womb of Yashima bet he survived, born wise, plus he focused on his plan, no joke, armies await his command, they say a child shall lead the way, when them see how the warriors surround, that's when the people them say, this child destined for the throne, when them see how we govern in Harar, that's when they all bow down. The government on his shoulders, Mussolini coming with his plan, he's preparing his soldiers, but his plan has to fail, weep not, the Lion of Judah prevail, hail Lidj Tafari.